Alright, welcome back everyone. This is Tyfling, returning to our Gen 1 Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge. Last time we made it through this route all the way to Mount Moon, caught ourselves a Jigglypuff, which we named Gelatone. Still trying to level it up so it has an actual attack beyond Sing. We also bought the Magikarp, we named him Flounder. This will be, hopefully, our water type to make it through the rest of the game. If not, we'll catch something else later. I'm really hoping we can get this guy up to Gyarados. Of course, we have the rest of our team. Bigon the Beedrill, Prickly the Nidoran, Pyro the Charmander, and Whiskers the Rattata. We also caught ourselves a Geodude named Boldly, spelled like Boulder and Boldly. He's sitting in our box as backup. Wanted to backtrack here really quick. I think I actually missed a couple of trainers, and then we're going to start our way into Mount Moon. I also figure, I've got 5 episodes in, this is going to be episode 6. I'd do a recap on what we're doing. So, anybody who's not aware of what it is, a Nuzlocke challenge is a set of self-imposed rules in playing Pokemon to try and increase the difficulty a little bit, but also to kind of vary the Pokemon that you play with, and to try and forge a bond with the Pokemon that you're playing with, so that they become a little bit more sentimental to you. Those rules are: 1. You are only allowed to catch the first Pokemon you encounter in an area. So, here in Route 3, first Pokemon I encountered was Jigglypuff, which is a lucky catch, considering it's like a 5, 15, something. It's a low % chance to run into a Jigglypuff, and it was the first thing we ran into. Second rule is, should a Pokemon on your team faint, you consider it dead. You either have to release it, or, as I'm doing and many others do, you put it in a special box in the PC to be kind of treated as your graveyard. We actually already lost a Pidgey on episode 2, or was it 3? I think it was 3. His name was Feathers, and he got poisoned battling against the level 9 Weedle at the end of Viridian Forest, right at the very end of what would have been him beating out the Weedle. Instead, that one bit of poison damage knocked him out. We almost lost Nidoran as well, or Prickly, who just learned Poison Sting. But he barely survived Brock's Onyx's Bide, because I wasn't paying attention. That's pretty much the core of it. There's a couple of things that are kind of tacked on that people like to consider tertiary rules. One, that you have to name every Pokemon, which is why we have the names that we do. I've had to come up with them on the fly. I haven't planned any of them out. And another one is people refer to as the law of duplicates. Basically, you can choose to pass up Pokemon that are in some way a duplicate of Pokemon you've already caught. So say we run into another Pidgey. I can choose to pass it up because we already had Feathers. Rest his little birdie soul. Or if I ran into a Pidgeotto, I can choose to pass it up. And that's to give us a wider variety of Pokemon to run with, so that we're not running around, say, we hit this cave and rock tunnel and everywhere else, and we end up with a bunch of Geodude. We're not walking around carrying a pile of Geodude when we go against Erica. Alright. And imagining I'm probably going to get this video done after Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone has a great holiday this coming week, or that week back then, depending on when you're watching this and when this comes out. I know we're planning on just a dinner with my family, not the bigger family, just me and my kids and my wife. Though we may have a few people coming by. I'm going to be doing a lot of the baking and cooking myself. I love to cook, and took some vacation off to try and catch up on the meal before the day. Well, of course, you had to put it to sleep. But, yeah, I hope it all goes well. Bringing things back to Pokemon, though. Long, awkward pause. Continuing to be a long, awkward pause. Yeah, I kind of ran out of things to think on here. If anything comes up, I'll talk about it. There you go. Continue to be nice and awkward, Dylan. Yeah. Well, I've said it before. Maybe recap again here. I'm not much of a talker. This is kind of forcing me out of my bubble to try and talk with this. And, sorry, a little bit of junk in my throat. But, I do hope that this will kind of, why am I, please don't hit him again. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I should have paid more attention to the game rather than trying to talk, because now we just lost Prickly. I know one can always choose to just stop recording, restart the game, and continue on, be like, haha, hey guys, that never happened, you'll never know. I don't want to do that. I want this to be as pure as possible. That sucks, because I really was looking forward to getting Nidoking. But no, I had to be dumb. I had to sit here focusing more on my lack of scripting because I'm trying to wing this. I felt it would be a lot better to try and do this all on the fly. And maybe I should have just focused more on the game, gone quiet there for a second. As I said before with Feathers, my arrogance ended up with his loss. My loss here. It kind of miffs me, but I guess having Gelatone, at least we have something to put that Moonstone on when we finally get it. And this opened up space for Boldly to join the team, so now we have Boldly the Geodude with us. What really sucks is now we have 3 Pokemon we're trying to level up. Gelatone to actually learn an attack, Flounder because he's not going to be able to do anything until level 15, and even after that he's not going to be much good to us until he's Gyarados. Now we have Boldly, which, positive note, Boldly is a rock type. Rock types are very tough, very defensive, resist a lot of different types of attacks. And given that we are going to have a ton of bug catchers and bird trainers, I think they're bird catchers, but we're going to have a ton of those, and he'll be useful for that. So I shouldn't gripe too much, but I should have been paying attention. At least we still have Begon. Positive note. I love bug types, and so far he hasn't died yet. And there's another Geodude. I don't feel like having to compete with Geodude's type advantages or resistances right now, so if I run into them I'm gonna just run until the rest of my team gets strong enough that it's gonna be a little bit easier to just knock them out. Oh, this Zubat being level 6, we could throw boldly out against it. You know, it's been forever since I've seen Geodude's sprite. He's definitely one that sits on the not a Pokemon I used very commonly range. And looking at his back sprite, it almost looks like they decided to cut off his arms. That or maybe they're crossed in front of his face and he's just rolling to do his tackle. Losing Feathers was, you know, a pretty big hit to me, but losing Prickly... I'm probably going to be talking about that for episodes to come. It's just going to be like, oh yeah, we're at this point. If only Prickly were here. Prickly! We miss you! Yeah. Magnemite. So... I don't know if it's just me, or if this is true for anyone else, but I always felt kind of miffed when I ran into some of these early trainers. Like, the kid with the Ekans at the beginning of Route 3, these, super nerds that have Magnemites and Grimers and stuff. I always felt kind of like, why do they have it right now? Why aren't they fighting with Pokemon I can catch? I want to catch that Magnemite. Obviously I can't steal it from you, but where can I get it? Back in the day, like, my brother and I did buy the strategy guide. It was... I want to say it was like the Nintendo Power one, but I could be wrong. But it had a bunch of stickers in the back, so you can place the sticker in the Pokédex section to mark that you caught something. We never used it for that, we just kind of looked over the Pokédex. Gelatone leveled up. And so did Pyro. Good job there, Charmander. And he learned Leer. Voltorb. Let's switch over to Flounder. But, so we had the strategy guide. We knew where everything was, but it just felt like, oh man, I wish I could have that. A little bit of envy towards our, foes here. I will say this, I do enjoy at least being forced to play with Pokemon that I wouldn't say never used, but hardly ever used before. Like Beedrill here. Yeah, bug types are my favorites, but I would actually grind out to try and get Butterfree, because Butterfree has the Psychic type attacks, the Grass type sleep moves and paralyzing moves, and all of that stuff. And I look back on it, Beedrill was actually the only bug type to have real bug attacks that cause damage. Scyther and Pinsir, even, being the powerful bug types in the game, didn't have any real bug type attacks. But I never used them. I would catch a Weedle, I would level it to a Beedrill to fill out my Pokédex, but it wasn't a standing member of the party. Geodude. Geodude is something that I had no interest in leveling up. I would only endgame level it up to trade to my brother so that we would have a Golem for our Pokédex. Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff I would Stone Evolve and then box it. And that was it. And so now I'm being forced to use these things. Heck, my starter. I always started with Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I never played Charmander. And the reason that we have Charmander is kind of more to the recap. I screened my kids on what the choices in the game would be, so that even that was, at least for me, a little bit more random. So instead of just going with Bulbasaur, which is my default choice, I asked my kids, which do you like, Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? 2 said Charmander, 1 said Squirtle, 1 said Bulbasaur. And the vote was in, it was Charmander. Same thing with us buying the Magikarp. I just asked my kids, "You kids like Magikarp?" 3 out of 4 of them said yes. And when we get to the fossil here, you'll see which was their choice on the same screening. Yeah. Now I have real commentary after I've let Prickly die. I have to let my Pokemon die to be able to make a decent comment in this. It's gonna be depressing getting to the Elite Four and having like a bunch of level 20s and 30s because everyone's died along the way. That's another part of the challenge though. It's supposed to kinda frustrate you a little bit, make you more careful. Obviously I didn't heed that warning. But in the end you should be a better player. You should have a much greater appreciation for some parts of the game, maybe much more frustration for others. But the team that you pull into the very end of the game, that you use to bring in that champion win, you'll have a lot more feeling to it than when you play normally and you're picking for type advantages. And yeah, this one's going to be the best because it has all these strengths against these other types. This is going to force you to have to stand there with who you were able to survive to the end with, whoever it may be. And know that it's going to be all skill from that point on to bring you the victory. And Gelatone finally won, or learned Pound! Yay! And throw Flounder up there, and then have Gelatone pound out this Metapod. I should have opened with Sing to try and... Didn't affect. I don't know, maybe I just don't pay attention to the misses on attacks like that. Maybe it didn't affect as what it always said. I'm sure there's... If anybody other than my family watches this, they're gonna be sitting there like, no! About to swear there, and I had to catch myself. I guess, yelling, of course it's always said that. Just in here, I'm dumb Typhling. Playing game that I, say I've played for so long, and yet it's been so long since I've played it, I can't remember anything about it. Not anything, but little details like that. Flawless victory. Against something that can't attack. It's like beating up a Magikarp. Oh wait. No benefit if we keep running into these bug catchers, which I don't think there's very many of them in here. But if we do, at least Boldly will be able to bring up the experience on himself while helping out Flounder and Gelatone. You did indeed, sir. You did indeed lose. Okay, that'll be useful. With the escape rope, if we're on, say, the next floor and we're desperately needing to get back to the Pokemon Center, we can. Beat up that bat, Gelatone. Show it no mercy. Dang. I wasn't kidding. Gelatone showed it no mercy at all. Almost down. Now you're at level 10. I think at that point I'm going to, once I heal them up, I'll swap Flounder around to the front so he can level up some. I'll still, at least against wild or obviously weaker trainers, I'll swap Gelatone and Boldly up to the front. Prickly, we were only a couple of levels away from Nidorino. Then we could have gotten that Moonstone and we would have had Nidoking. Wah, Dylan. What's past is past, and you've already said you're not going back. You gotta keep on going forward. And Gelatone's starting to shape up to be a pretty awesome player. Goodness. Misspeak all the time. We're gonna hit this ladder real quick. Now, episode 1, I had said that some people, they'll count the whole of a dungeon, like the Viridian Forest or Mount Moon, as a single area, and some people will do them floor by floor for catching. And I'm going to be doing the single area, but I had considered the floor by floor to try and increase my ability to get newer Pokemon. So if I had gone that way, this Zubat would be our next potential party member. But since I decided to go with the whole dungeon as a single area thing, Boldly the Geodude is the one that we got from this area. Kind of makes me sad because I would have loved to have tried, 3 times to try and get a Paras, which is my personal favorite Pokemon. It's my 2 favorite types together, and one of those like little kid immediate attachment things. The first episode of Pokemon I had ever seen was the problem with Paras. And even though Paras is depicted pretty pathetically in that one, but he eventually builds up his confidence, I kind of related with that because I'm very much a low self-esteem kind of person. And I like the idea of, you can eventually, through the help of your friends, or in the case of Paras, Team Rocket, get yourself to the point where you can overcome your fears and your doubt and become a better person. Maybe that spoke really, really close to heart for me. Also, again, it's a bug with mushrooms, so there you go. So, Geodudes are gonna be a pest. Said that under my breath. I was saying a pest, but I realized that could have come out sounding naughty. subject just popped into my head, and I realize it's probably not the most appropriate given that I want to share these videos with my kids. But I just want someone to at least notice, if you haven't noticed before, the rocket guy has a whip and a policeman-style hat. Put those together and you'll see what I just realized. So, I've noticed, and this is one of those obvious things, but so each Pokemon villain team, their grunts generally carry a handful of types on them. Team Rocket, it tends to be ground types, poison types, and normal types. And I haven't played a whole lot of Gen 3, Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald, but I know from listening to my kids that Team Magma carries fire and ground and rock types, something like that, and Team Aqua, it sounds like they carry water and dark types. I don't know what their third type option would be. But playing Pearl, I wasn't really paying attention, but thinking back on it, it almost seemed like they broke that pattern, because it seemed like they were just throwing random things at me with a higher concentration of normal types, but it still seemed there was some things that I couldn't personally tell you why they were using them. It didn't. No, it's not Plasma. Plasma's black and white. Galactic, that's the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, like, there didn't seem like enough consistency. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Like, you know, when I killed Prickly and almost killed Boldly here. Let's get you a potion and some antidote. Or not antidote, you're confused, not poisoned. But maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Boldly is confused no more. He's had it up to here with all this. Oh man. Confused again. Still gotta tackle through. So, it might be after this rocket I might cut off this episode, because I want to try and keep max episode length around the half-hour mark. I don't want to go too much longer than that. I know things are kind of getting long at this point, so we'll gather up whatever item is on this floor. I might off-screen run to the Pokemon Center and kind of come back at the top of this ladder, and we'll just keep on going from there. But yeah, I thank anyone who's watching for watching with me. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I really should have been paying attention. We lost one of our strongest potential party members because I worried more about what I was going to be saying and ended up getting better things to say afterwards than about being better at playing this game. If anybody wants to leave a comment, you're sure welcome to point out that ridiculous flaw in my character. Come on, Gelatone, you could take down that Zubat. Alright, let's see what this is. I don't remember. An HP up. I don't even know how useful those things are. That might have to be something put towards my in-between game research. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys have a good one.